Thank the gentlelady from California. I'll now recognize myself for up to 5 minutes. First, just want to appreciate the witnesses. We've had a lengthy hearing with most of the members of the committee showing up, so I appreciate your time and your willingness to be here and for focusing on this issue. Now, I'll note this has regrettably mostly turned into a budget committee hearing. Now, recognizing it is a balanced budget amendment question, so it necessarily raises those issues. The question really before us is whether or not we should amend the Constitution of the United States to have some sort of structural changes to force Congress to be fiscally responsible, recognizing that both sides, as you just saw in its normal, relatively petty way, pointed at each other for being the cause of our deficit woes. And the fact of the matter is, both sides, my Democratic colleagues and my Republican colleagues, past, present, and future, are responsible for this. I think some reporting was done that when Mr. Musk came to visit the Republican delegation in December a year ago, almost to the date, probably this week, I'm guessing, if somebody Googles it, that Mr. Musk was talking about DOGE and talking about the savings, and many Republican colleagues went to the microphone and lauded the prospects of cuts and spending restraint. And I stood up and I said, Mr. Musk, you're going to have no problem identifying things to cut. You're going to produce a great list, and we should do most of it. But your problem is going to be everyone standing right next to me here, meaning all of my colleagues. Now, I would have said that. It happened to be a Republican meeting. I would have said that about my Democratic colleagues as well, because as my friend from Kentucky said, we are constitutionally, as members of Congress, hardwired, unfortunately, to want to effectively buy people's votes with a never-ending array of spending programs, whether they are meritorious or not. I often have people who come into my office who ask for cancer subsidies. As a cancer survivor, I'm sympathetic. I often and almost always tell them no, unless they come in with a payment. They tell me how they're going to pay for it. What else are they going to cut? Same thing with my farmers. My farmers come in and they are looking for something for extensions in the Farm Bill and so forth. And I say, well, are you going to do anything about the 80% of the Farm Bill that is SNAP and the extent to which it is consuming the budget? Well, no, or can't. Well, then I'm not going to support it. Members of Congress have got to actually, to the gentleman from Kentucky's point, do their job. The only thing I want to clarify here for the record, because we are here trying to talk about whether we should amend the Constitution, is I just want to go down the witnesses and say, and I think I know the answer, but just yes or no, do you believe that the Constitution of the United States can and should be amended to provide a mechanism to ensure that we are not spending more than is coming in as a general matter? Mr. Walker, do you believe it can and should be?
Yes, but I believe it ought to be debt to GDP.
Mr. Couchman?
Yes, as nearly every advanced country has already done.
Ms. Madney?
Yes, absolutely.
Mr. Duke?
Should not.
Okay. Mr. Duke, you would maintain that position even if it were only tax increases that were suggested as the mechanism for ensuring that there was fiscal responsibility and that inflows and outflows were equitable?
That's the job of Congress to do. I'm a 49ers fan. I wouldn't approve of a law that said 49ers win the Super Bowl each year.
So, I mean, I at least appreciate the consistency that you're saying that it shouldn't be put in place even for tax increases as opposed to spending restraint. But what I would question then is, and I don't even debate the merits of whether or not Congress is shirking its responsibility on an annual basis. I would only point out that it has done so for effectively eternity. And so the question here is, on behalf of the American people, what do we do about it? Because as Mr. Massey said, it's like, well, elect better people. Well, we never have. We elect 435 people to members of Congress who do the same thing every Congress, which is spend more money than we take in revenues. So I think my question is, I mean, again, do you not believe that there should be some mechanism, something in place? Perhaps, for example, if you can't amend the Constitution, we don't think we should do that, then should we have statutory restraints that say that members of Congress should not get paid? Or members of Congress shouldn't be able to hold chairmanships if they vote for budgets that are out of balance? Or that members of Congress in the NRCC or the DCCC can't raise money with all of their special perks and benefits to raise money for incumbent members of Congress who are crapping all over the American people by mortgaging their children's future? Is there anything that we can or should do as Congress to restrain Congress from racking up deficits?
I think Congress has to want it. I think your colleague, Mr. Massey, laid it out, that it's on the members of Congress to do it. For example, I think of statutory pay-go, right? Where we have a law that says if you increase the deficit, automatic across-the-board spending, it always gets waived.
I get it, but we do this all the time. And I'm not going to go too far over my time. I'm trying to be indulgent to some of my colleagues, so I'll give myself a few more seconds. But we've done that over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. I know, but that's why we're here. And I can sit here and I can ask these guys questions. I know what their answers are going to be. I know what your answers are going to be. The point here is we didn't have an actual debate about amending the Constitution to try to achieve something. Or in the absence of amending the Constitution, is there something this body, the United States Congress, can do to stop doing what we're doing, which is killing our country with interest piling up around the ears of our children? And if the answer is only that we've got to look in the mirror and be better, I agree. But we never do. We don't. And those of us that are dying on the Hill, trying to fight on the spending restraint, it's literally like pulling teeth to get discretionary spending held flat while we try to grow the economy out of it and deal with the fact that mandatory spending has gone from what? 4% in 1962 to what? 24% now of the overall GDP? And discretionary has gone from about 12% to 6% over that time? Mandatory spending is consuming it. Now, I've gone a minute over. I would just say, look, I appreciate the witnesses coming in. I appreciate their expertise. I appreciate my colleagues. I would suggest that we have got to do something to stop mortgaging our children's future. And we've got to stop pointing across at each other and saying, well, you did it and you did it. It's just simply not true. My Democratic colleagues give Clinton credit for the 90s, but want to ignore welfare reform and ignore Republican Congress that came in 94, 95. So with that, I've used up my time. Does anybody have any consent requests? Gentle lady from California.
Well, I don't have a consent request.
Well, then.
But I just want to say something to you.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So I just want to commend you on your comments and rules on the SCORE Act, okay? And then second, I do want to say that I do think some districts try to elect better people. And I do think that. But really, I want to commend you. You mentioned petty in your comments. And I was thinking, I want to commend you, Mr. Chair, for discouraging any petty, caustic, childish outbursts in this hearing. I just want to thank you.
I think the gentlelady, I do think we owe it to the future generations to actually solve this problem, and we're not. And so if we want to amend the Constitution, let's have that debate. If we don't, let's come up with another solution. With that, I will do whatever I'm supposed to do to conclude the hearing. This concludes today's hearing. We thank the witnesses for appearing before the subcommittee. Without objection, all members will have 5 legislative days to submit additional written questions for the witnesses or additional materials for the record. Without objection, the hearing is adjourned.